Everyone loves Monster Hunter. It's an incredible series with a lot of heart behind it. And after years of being relegated to the role of that quirky Japanese game that your anime-obsessed friend likes, it's achieved mainstream appeal. And part of the reason for its success is that it kind of occupies a very specific niche within the industry. No big company has really tried to come for the crown, and the ones that did found little success. And that was still true until a few weeks ago when Wild Hearts came to town. Could this new IP finally be the title that manages to give Monster Hunter the competition it needs? Well, let's find out. But before we do, guys, like 99% of people that watch this channel aren't subscribed, so it'll be solid if you drop a sub so you can keep coming back to our videos in the future. So what is Wild Hearts? This is EA's attempt at cashing in on the surprisingly untapped market of Monster Hunter players who, right now, subsist on new entries in the series every couple of years. Made by Omega Force, developers of the Tokiden and Dynasty Warrior series, Wild Hearts is the first major game that even comes close to the scope of Capcom's prized franchise, and many are wondering if this game will finally be a proper rival to Monster Hunter. There's a reason why Monster Hunter is as big as it is. While all of its derivatives end up being relatively niche titles, the series is already the best at what it does, and there's really no one that can stand up to it. It already has a set tone. It's a slow, immersive series of games that require commitment and planning to play. Wild Hearts, on the other hand, looks like a faster, easier to digest alternative, and that is also why it's becoming to be so exciting. The game is set in a mythological Japan that's rife with untapped ancient technology called Karakuri. These are the game's big claim to fame, and they're used in a system which lets you utilize various support structures, such as a big wall or a giant springboard, to influence the battlefield. Now, this might sound a little insane, but the game even lets you create vehicles called rollers to move around the map if you want. Karakuri are supposed to give you an edge when fighting against the monsters, or kimono as the game calls them, which roughly translates to the word monster or beast. On the surface, the game actually looks a lot like your typical Monster Hunter fare, with large aggressive beasts, creative weapon types, and players working together to make hunts easier. Wild Hearts is unashamedly, proudly even, borrowing its main bit from one of the most popular series of all time. And I think that straightforwardness is great. During an interview with Kotaro Hirata, one of the directors for the game, he even directly referenced the inspiration for the game. However, the game makes a lot of changes both on the surface and under the hood to separate itself from Monster Hunter. For one, there's the aforementioned Karakuri system, letting you plant structures in the environment to give yourself an edge during these hunts. And what really sets these apart, however, is that they're seamlessly integrated into the combat loop. Planning a structure is made quick and easy, so you can effortlessly put one down and improvise what to do next on the fly, which is a crucial aspect of the game. What's even more interesting is that these Karakuri stay on the battlefield across multiple hunts, making them not only great on-the-fly tools, but surprisingly great tactical ones on top of that. If you're smart, you can choose to lure specific monsters to an area where you have plenty of structures placed and give yourself an edge during the fight and not get overwhelmed. The kimono themselves also seem like they're strongly designed around the use of the system, as they appear to be a lot harder to stagger or even flinch in comparison to Monster Hunter's beasts. And some of the Karakuri at your disposal are specifically designed to counter a specific monster's attack. Another one of the most exciting aspects of the Monster Hunter games is their arsenal of weapons, and fortunately, Wild Hearts has a fantastic roster of unique weapon types as well, even if most of them fill relatively traditional roles. There's a Karakuri staff that can turn into a giant sword for big damage, somewhat similar to the Charge Blade in essence, and the heavy bowgun equivalent in the game is the cannon, which is a cannon that shoots fireballs and has various firing modes such as a mortar strike and a deadly laser beam that decimates everything in your line of sight. The Karakuri katana, on the other hand, can turn into a Belmont-style chained whip with high range and strong blunt damage. It's an impressive spin on the weapon types we've come to know and love across the many Monster Hunter games. One major improvement present in Wild Hearts over its influences is the multiplayer. Online play, even in recent Monster Hunter games such as World or Rise, can be inconvenient at best and frustrating at worst. Throw in the lack of any crossplay and it's kind of a mess. One thing we can expect from Wild Hearts is much better online support, especially considering that crossplay is one of the game's major features. In a stroke of good news, there are also 0 microtransactions planned. Yes, 0. The developers have confirmed that the game will be microtransaction free, and if any are added down the line for whatever reason, they're going to be strictly cosmetic. The game will also be supported with post-launch content such as new Kimono to fight, as well as new Karakuri to play around with. Unfortunately, there is one giant asterisk looming over the game right now, and that is performance. Koei Tecmo aren't really known for their quality PC ports, but Wild Hearts might be on a whole another level of awful. Painful stuttering and large FPS drops significantly bring down what is otherwise an excellent title. The game currently sits at a mixed rating on Steam with over 60% negative reviews, and even players with high-end rigs have reported that the game runs terribly and is riddled with bugs. While the console versions fare a lot better, they aren't perfect either, with users reporting performance dips even on a PS5. But those are strictly performance issues that can probably be fixed over time. As a whole though, Wild Hearts looks like the strongest competitor that Monster Hunter has ever had. Don't get me wrong, Monster Hunter, incredible franchise, but competition is always going to be good, especially when it comes to games, and more so for a franchise that has remained unchanged for so long. And if it does turn out to be a hit, we can expect a lot more creativity in the genre going forward. Just don't get it right now, at least not at full price. This is a great game that is unfortunately held back by terrible performance problems, but once those are fixed, it's a safe bet that people are going to be talking about this one for a while.